Monday, June 21st, 2021. How's it going, guys? Got another video for you. Well, what I'm doing today is putting a bearing and rear hub on a 2007 Ford Focus. And what I'm going to show you what we've done here. I'm just going to make this short because it's not really that difficult to do. But I'm going to explain what I have done. And what I did, there's and some of them will say this is a 30mm nut that goes on this right here, but they're not all 30. On this 2007 here, it's a 29mm. So you want to check to make sure, depending on what you have. Now I got a lot of different kinds of sockets and stuff. It was no big deal on this, but I just want to explain because A1 Auto's got it at 30, and it depends on what year, make, and model. So you definitely want to check what size nut you have on that. Okay, now about a year ago I replaced these brake shoes on this vehicle. So I know the brake shoes are still pretty good, but when I did all the back rear suspension on this, I replaced pretty much the whole underneath rear suspension on this. One of the wheel bearings was bad on the right, so I went ahead and replaced that. I knew the one on the left was going to have to be replaced down the line. Well, it's time to replace it. So what I did, this is the old hub that I just pulled off, which doesn't really look too bad. What I did to clean this up, now the guys will tell you lots of different ways to do this. I even watched on A1, this guy was pulling this back here. I wouldn't recommend pulling this back here because if these rubbers are dry a little bit, you're liable to pop something off and cause a leak. And if you're not, it's just like one thing. Now, if it's leaking when you take this off, that's a whole nother matter. Then the wheel cylinder is going to have to be replaced. But I've also replaced all these here too. These are brand new too. So what I was going to say, what you can do, hold on just a second. Okay guys, I'm back. Now what this is emery cloth. And you want to use emery cloth. You do not want to use sandpaper. Because the sandpaper, just like pieces of rock and grit, say down here on the concrete, can get embedded into this. We don't want that. This here, what we can do, sometimes these shoes will get a little glazed over, and then they don't grip as good. My recommendation is to take this, you just kind of scuff it up a little bit and clear it all up, do both sides, and that's what I did. And then they look brand new, and they'll grip again just like they were brand new. Now, I had wiped all the grease off this before, okay? And what I'm going to explain to you what I did next. Way back, what they used to say, if you're going to clean this, and this is even when they had the asbestos and everything else, what best thing was to do, you would get a drain, like a pan, put it underneath here, and then you would just wash it off with water. Now, you got to remember something. This is supposed to be a sealed system, okay? This spindle here, basically, you wipe the grease off of it so it don't beat over. Wash everything down. You get this all off so that you just get sanded, any debris or anything. Then you come back, and you blow it off. Hold on. I'm back. Now, you just air it off until it's all dry, guys, okay? And that's all you got to do. Once it's all dry, I go back in, I take a couple paper towels, and I wipe this off real good just to make sure it's bone dry, okay? Then I go back and I put a high heat intensity multi-purpose grease on this slightly, okay? Now, we're pretty much good to go. Other than, don't forget guys, when you buy these, okay, two things you don't want to do. Don't just take these and flip these over. They're in here on this cardboard and on this board. But this piece of metal rim here has to go around this rubber and seal, okay? Kind of keeps the water out, okay? A little bit, so the water is supposed to get in here anyway, but it's just a preventive measure here, guys. But guys will take these, and when they go to clean them, they'll flip them over. And then if they toss these over too hard, this can get bent here. So it's just another heads up, something everybody should know about. Get you some brake clean, Walmart's got it for $1.99. Spray it in here, but don't spray it down in the bearing. Just spray it around here. So you want to take this and tilt it and spray it as you go around. Do not get it down in the grease. Do not get it down in the bearing. That area you want to leave so nothing gets down in there on either side. These things here, basically, I mean, they coat them with different things. I worked at one place that actually made valves and stuff for like your big like gas pipeline. I've done that too, where they were doing like machining and stuff like that. And we actually was using like WD-40 to spray WD-40 on them and coat them to keep them from rusting, like these valve like cylinders. But this is some other kind of, I think, oil or grease that they use to coat this. I don't know what they exactly use. So anyway, hold on just a second. Okay guys, I'm back. I just put this on. It just pretty much it slid on pretty good too. No problem. Now, one other thing. We're going to put this nut on. They recommend replacing that nut. It's probably a good idea. Some do, some don't. Because it's got to be torqued, I think. What is the torque on it? Do you remember? 170? 175? I'll have to look exactly and make sure. But anyway, good idea to replace, because they're not really supposed to be. They're supposed to be a one-time nut that goes on here, guys. But in the worst case scenario, you can use it if you have no other choice in the matter. So that's just another thing. One other thing though, when you go to torque this, very important, you want to rotate this. I can't hold the deal and do this too, I don't think. But you want to rotate this about a quarter of a turn after you've snugged this down, and then add about maybe 20 pounds, foot-pounds per quarter turn going this way, actually counterclockwise. And that just kind of helps this thing to be even on there. Anyway, guys, it's pretty much it. And I thought just a quick little video show you how to do it. This is taking about, to do all this, get the jack stands out and everything, it took about 55 minutes. But if it would have been up on a lift, it probably wouldn't have took more than about 20, 25. Anyway, guys, just a short little video, and have a good one.